इतना सफर है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for that lovely motivational message which creates magic for all of us. Thank you so much, all the participants who have joined us today for this great session. We welcome you to the 69th edition of Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series. Franchise India, a group which was started in 1999 to give a platform to all international national brands to spread their wings through our network. And we are helping all potential business buyers, investors to select their dreams. Today, it's our privilege that we have 4 panel members talking about this great brand. I welcome our panel member, Mr. Gaurav Maria, who is the chairman at Franchise India Group. He's the CEO at Remax India as well as Biz Equity. I welcome our second panel member, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. She is the MD at Franchise India Brands Limited and Director of Remax. And now we are welcoming our brand of the day, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School. Yes, a Jaipuria group of educational institute. And it's our privilege that we have Chairman Jaipuria Group, Shishir sir with us throughout for this webinar talking about this great brand. And we have Mr. Bhattacharya also, who is a AVP Partner Services for Jaipuria Group, talking about how they are serving nation with their 75 years of experience and having 12,000 students with 15,000 alumni members, a group which is known for leading education in K2 sector. This particular group was founded in 1945 in education field when they first founded their college in Kolkata. And today we are talking about this great brand where Mr. Bhattacharya will talk about the brand and Shishir sir will talk about the kind of the legacy they carry. Welcome. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. So over to you, sir. But before we start, we would like to play a small video for all our participants. So Mr. Bhattacharya, may I request you to play the video for us?
Sure.
Jaipuria Group has been at the forefront of the educational landscape of India for over a century now. Deeply committed to educate, equip, and inspire leaders of the next generation. The group seeks to build character and impart sound knowledge to its students. The objective is to prepare them to handle strong organizations, build lasting values, and participate in the process of human development.
Our family always had strong belief in the importance of education and were indeed passionate about it. My grandfather, Padma Bhushan Mangturam Jaipuria, and my father, Dr. Rajaram Jaipuria, were great business icons of India. They felt education is the best way towards empowerment, which would lead to development of our nation.
The multi-million-dollar house of Jaipuria is a leading corporate house of the nation, led by the flagship Guinea Filaments, an acknowledged leader in the field of textiles. Education has been at the core of the Jaipuria vision. They have consistently focused on creating the next generation of Indians who will carry the mantle of our great nation. The first Seth Anand Ram Jaipuria College was inaugurated by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in Kolkata. The group has committed long-term investments to continuously expand, upgrade technology and infrastructure, and bring in the best human resources for top-class delivery. Ultra-modern buildings spread across acres of landscaped green spaces create an ambience of peace and serenity. Built on prime locations offering excellent connectivity, institutions have modern hostels, smart classrooms, conference rooms, fully air-conditioned auditoriums, Wi-Fi, and state-of-the-art computer labs. State-of-the-art sport infrastructure encourages students to play games like cricket, football, basketball, badminton, table tennis, volleyball, pool, carom, and chess. Seth Anand Ram Jaipuria School, Kanpur, established in 1974, is a leading school of Northern India and has been consistently achieving excellent results in board examinations. Every year, a record number of its students enter IIT, IIM, and other respected institutions in engineering, medical, and management streams. In extracurricular activities, international events like ComFest help develop technical and organizational skills among students. The school has a strong pedagogical synergy with IIT Kanpur, which is created by holding joint sessions and programs throughout the year. A long-standing demand for a Seth Anand Ram Jaipuria school in Lucknow was met by the commencement of the academic session from April 2016. The school boasts of a state-of-the-art infrastructure and is equipped with computer labs, smart classes, etc. The emphasis is on experiential learning, skill and value-based pedagogy, and activity-based interactive sessions. Theatre, music, fine arts, and debating, in addition to outdoor and sports activities, are given equal importance. The Lucknow school carries the legacy of Kanpur and Ghaziabad schools and is fast becoming a favorite option for parents in the state capital. The Seth Anand Ram Jaipuria School, Ghaziabad, has built an enviable reputation for results and prides itself with excellent foreign tie-ups and international recognition from the British Council. Widely recognized, the school is a recipient of multiple awards for its impactful work pertaining to the highly sensitive areas of environment and ecology. As a part of the social outreach program, the school holds special literacy classes for its own employees. The school enjoys a phenomenal track record of academic performance and has a good strike rate for entrance to higher institutions like IIT and IIM. The school today is one of the highest rated schools of the Delhi NCR region. The holistic emphasis on co-curricular activities in dramatics, debating, fine arts, etc. provides an enriching experience to the creatively inclined students. wet play area for preschools is a unique facility thoroughly enjoyed by students in our Lucknow, Ghaziabad and Kanpur. The student-teacher connect in our schools is singularly distinguished by bonhomie and positive energy. We continue to build on our legacy to make that learning available to a wider geographical area. We are doing this by entering into partnerships with like-minded and value-driven individuals. The Jaipuria journey in the education space hitherto has been extremely eventful and gratifying. There is no exaggeration in stating that it has acquired a brand equity which is universally respected, admired, and sought after by the discerning students and parents alike.
All right. Thank you, Gaurav and Sonia, for inviting us today at this forum to present the most emerging business opportunity with you all. I also welcome all our viewers and prospective investors who are really passionate and really keen to provide quality education in their respective cities. So if you can allow me, I can start with the presentation, Gaurav.
Sure, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Give me a second. Yeah, is this visible?
Absolutely.
All right. So we already have Sri Shishir Jaipuria ji along with us in this webinar today. I would like to, welcome him on behalf of this forum. And today, Sri Shishir Jaipuria ji carrying forward the family vision of an educated and empowerment India. He is also a co-chairman at FICCI Arise, also vice president at All India Organization of Employers and executive committee member at PhD Chamber of Commerce, as well as Indian Export Organization, Federation of Indian Export Organization.
It is an honor to have you, Shishir sir.
Thank you indeed.
As a special invitation from our side, you agreed to come. It's a really honor at Franchise India to have you on the panel. We really are privileged to get your views on larger subject of education and what is happening, and your view on the overall economy and things of that nature. So it will be I will like to hear from you. So it's our privilege to have you on board.
Thank you, Gaurav and Sonia, for having me. Over.
Thank you so much, Shishir sir.
Great. And, he has also been conferred with Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017 for his exceptional contribution in the field of education. And also Honorable President and Vice President of India had visited our campuses for different functions and launches in recent past. So we have been privileged to have eminent personalities who have been visited our schools and shared their experiences with our little Jaipurians across schools. And these are few of our archived, photographs who have been actually graced with their presence in initial years of Jaipuria. Coming back at Jaipuria, we had a very strong leadership team and a pool of mentors. We have Mrs. Jaipuria and her eldest son, Mr. Saket, who are our vice chairpersons. Mr. Hari Sanduja, Director Schools, who come with an experience of 21 years in the field of education. He's also, working with us in the capacity of Director Schools. Ms. Manju Rana, she's been associated with us for last 16 years. And she has also been awarded with National Teachers Award in 2019. That's the most prestigious award for any educationist in India by President of India. As we have showed you a little glimpse of Guinea Filaments. Guinea Filaments is our parent company, started way back in 1993. It's a listed company, and basically this organization is into non-woven fabric with organization with non-fabric company with an annual turnover of more than 850 crores. And Guinea has several divisions like textiles, garmenting, and also into technical textile division, which produces hygiene and medical applications and have products in cosmetics and disinfected products as well. So Guinea having 4 manufacturing units all across the India. So we have our one main head office in Noida, UP. Then we have in Panoli at Gujarat, Haridwar in Uttarakhand, as well as in Kosi Kallan, which is near to Haridwar. We are also into social corporate responsibilities. And we already have a Ram Darshan temple, which is in Chitraput, established way back in 2000, and Jaipuria Hospital. It's an eye hospital in Nawalgarh, Rajasthan, established way back in 1943. And we are also into bhavans. We have 3 bhavans, Smriti Bhavans, in the name of Seth Anandram Smriti Bhavan, located in Vrindavan, Haridwar, and Chitrapur. All right, coming to what we are into as a core educationist, we started our first campus in Kanpur way back in 1974, and with the kind of legacy, 46 years of legacy that we have, and more than 2,500 students are currently, presently studying in school. The school is also a member of Round Square UK, which actually develops skills and to prepare them as a global citizens. We've been received as a second ranker all India in ICSE exams, and being number 1 almost every year now and then by Education World Rating in 2019 as well. We started our Ghaziabad campus in 2004. The school comprises of more than 5,000 plus students, currently spread across with more than 5.5 acres. This year, CBSE exams, we produce the district topper in class 12, as well as we keep, produce a lot of national toppers in class 10th and 12th board examinations. The latest, our own core school, we have another campuses in Lucknow, which is on the Shahid Path. We started that school in 2016. The school is still class 10th, and now the school strength almost like 1,000 plus. That's the only Microsoft Showcase school in Lucknow, and being number 1, ranked being number 1 in digital learning in 2008. And happy to share Seth Anandram Jaipuria School, Lucknow School, also in the books of Guinness World Records for attending 90 minutes non-stop first aid training lecture. So we are also, present into different verticals. We also ventured into higher education segment with our business school, focusing on the postgraduate programs. We started Jaipur Institute of Management, located in Ghaziabad in 2001, and 2008 we started with Jaipuria School of Business. Recently, 2015, we also ventured into the preschool segment in the name of Little One, the Jaipuria Preschool. We have 2 core campuses, one located in Kanpur and one in Ghaziabad. And happy to share, we recently launched a Teachers Training Academy in the name of STAR, Samarth Teachers Training Academy of Research, which recently being launched, and we do a lot of teacher training programs, not only for our own school students, but across the board. It's a proud moment to share. I just wanted to share you that we produce consistent board results year on year. This year, we have been producing good results. We produced a district topper in class 12. and we keep on, having our all India rankers and CBSE board results every year on year. As I said, Mrs. Manju Rana, Principal cum Director, been conferred with the National Teachers Award in 2019 by President of India, Sri Ram Nath Kovind ji. Other than that, we are also get a lot of accolades time to time. We've been rated #1 and #2 every year on different platforms and different ratings awards organizations. And we also featured as one of the future 50 schools in India in 2018 and 19. When we talk about our partner schools, yes, we started venturing franchise way back in 2014 with our first campus in Farrukhabad. And then the journey continues, and we have almost like 12 schools right now associated with us under the brand name of St. Anandram Jaipuria Schools. And next year, we are coming with 6 more schools in the next academic session. If I talk about our overall strength, yes, as Archana rightly said, that we started our first college in 1945, way back in Calcutta with college. So it's been a legacy of 75 years, seven decades of experience into setting up and improving the quality of education across India. We have a pool of 20,000 plus students who've been under this umbrella of St. Anandram Jaipuria Group. We have been produced more than 15,000 of alumni settled in India and globally, and settled in many different good positions. Currently, we have almost like 800 plus educators who are a part of our journey providing quality education. And right now we are operating 20 schools, and hopefully we'll be coming up with more schools in next year. 6 schools that they already have signed up and coming next year. And we are very closely working with the CBSE and ICSE affiliating bodies. While I'm talking about the scope and the emerging opportunities, this slide is going to be the key for all of us, for all of our investors. This is a survey and a report come from Ministry of Human Resource Development and FICCI way back in 2017. This shows that during 2016, there were 260 million students were there, and currently, when you talk about 2020, we will be having a strength of 373 million students that need to be educated. And if you see on the right side of this screen, you will see the number of schools in way back in 2015 and 16. So to accommodate 260 million students, there were 11 million government schools and 442,000 private schools were there at that point of time. But now in 2022, to cater 373 million students, we, other than the government school, we still have 130,000 private schools are required by 2022. So investors are most welcome to foray into this kind of venture where they not only provide quality education in the respective cities, but also going to be an important game changer in nation building as well. While I'll talk about benefiting of this business model, yes, of course, the first and most important that as we are into this education domain and having a good brand value by now, the kind of legacy and the track record. So obviously, a person whoever associate with us will get the advantage of the brand name and the value that we have associated with. And with the kind of experience and the track that we have, obviously, the quality is something going to be very important and key change maker in this kind of business model. Importantly, while we are into this model and providing a lot of strategic and analytical inputs, we provide customized business plans and project sheet, which actually help you to recover your OPEX quickly and have a projected cash flows. Technical support, yes, we have a lot of IT support nowadays with a lot of this kind of changes in terms of the cyber security and IT infrastructure. We will be providing you a lot of technical support and assistance. Definitely, once the school gets signed, there are a lot of work that need to be done and support to be provided during the pre-opening phase. So I will be talking about all this in my next slides. And of course, yes, the most important thing that will be the academics. And as a business partner, you will be getting a higher launch pad and to connect with the society, and you probably can have the sense of feeling pride with carrying that legacy of St. Anandram Jaipuria schools in your respective city. When you talk about partnership support service, this is basically a franchise-owned company supported model, wherein right after signing up the agreement, once we finalize and ink our partnership, the main focus during the pre-launch is basically your architectural support. So as we have a pool of expertise, we'll definitely try to help with respect to architectural support with all our partners. The kind of right infrastructure, what needs to be done in the first phase and second phase and so on. Next, we will be helping you with providing right set of marketing and branding opportunities in your city to promote the brand, to engage parents to talk about this brand and to seek admissions in the school. Help you with recruitments of principals, teaching staff, non-teaching staff, as well as providing right set of trainings to them. Detailed shared process manual. This is going to be a very important thing for any partner who associate with us. We have a set of process manuals that becomes a Bible for any of our investors who sign up and take up this school. This is basically gives you a A to Z kind of framework how the school needs to be operated once it gets launched. Financial projections, of course, yes, we definitely help school to prepare what kind of right fee structure, the kind of ordinance that are in place in particular states, and accordingly we give them the financial projections to recover the operational expenses quickly and try to come to the break even. So while I was talking about pre-launch, now the phase when we actually kick off our admission session, post-launch, we do a lot of, right after the launch, we provide you the IT and auxiliary support in terms of the textbooks, uniforms, etc. Provide complete assistance in terms of the CBSE affiliations, or even if you take the ICSE board. We do keep regular audits of the school because not only you running a school, but there are a lot of standard operating process need to be followed on a regular basis, and to make sure all those things are happening on a periodical basis and your staff is being optimizing the resources. We need to have those audits, and we share that report. We make sure that those reports are being implemented and executed properly. Curriculum, the kind of academic support that we will be providing to all our partners and to implement, wherein we do a lot of training, hand-holding with teachers, and to make sure each of our teachers should understand the importance of taking these lesson plans, e-contents inside the classroom and how to transform and share with their in their teachings. Regular trainings and developments, not only for the teaching staff, but even for the non-teaching staff and the grade 4 employees. Co-curricular guidance is going to be a key important factor for all of us because we keep doing a lot of stuff. So we keep guiding our schools. Hand-holding for any kind of events. Maybe you are new to this trade. You may not be able to understand and how to organize the launching ceremony or annual day or sports day. So our corporate team will guide you and handhold with all those things. upgradations of recent developments. As you know, there are a lot of administration changes that and circulars that keep on coming from government of India and state governments. So we are getting all those updates even from the CBSE. So we keep sharing all kind of updated advisories and circulars time to time. We do focus on project-based learning and experiential learning for developing 21st century skill sets in every child, and of course,
So I think we lost Anirban. We're not able to hear.
Can you request him? Okay, she's reaching out. We can reconnect.
Shishi ji, जब तक Arinbar आते हैं, तब तक I would like to maybe take a question with you.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. We can go ahead. I think he's trying to reconnect in the meantime.
हाँ जी सर. So we would like to understand the broader vision because इतने schools अब कर रहे हैं और मुझे पता है particularly आपके group में you are very conscious about the selection of a partner क्योंकि in a lot of corporates I think are going into making these franchise schools, but you are an institution in your own right and the legacy, you're very very choosy on which partner should be. So but कुछ ऐसी guidance है जो आप देना चाहते हैं कि भाई जिनको school में आना है या whatever people are looking to come in this business, what profile you would like to see? And the school, running a school is a very long-term commitment. It's not a short-term commitment. So anything which you would like to share with our audience?
Well, Gaurav, I'd like to touch upon the family legacy, although Anirban, are you back? Would you like to finish the presentation or should I go ahead with your answer?
You need to unmute Anirban.
Yeah, there was certain disconnect with the internet.
No problem. You want to finish the presentation? I was...
Anirban, you quickly go through the presentation.
Yeah, let me finish it quickly.
Limitation.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we were at this slide, in fact. So it's an 8-step process which we follow. You need to have a land bank and a passion to set up a school. Then we basically do a site visit and catchment analysis done by the corporate team. We do share a customized project sheet with other documents that we take it from your end. Then we do a cross verification. We ink the agreement service level, and then we start providing you the all kind of pre-launch support. And step 7 is basically to provide an ERP, which is basically integrate the entire school system together, and then the start of the launch session. So, yeah. We differentiate factors. We focus on the 21st century skills with doing a lot of communication and life skills, design thinking, problem solving abilities, and do a lot of project based with the help of robotics, VR, well-stocked library, so that people start connecting, and we focus on the global citizenship as well. So these are the kind of marketing support that we'll be getting while being a part of this journey with us. So we have a standard designing team, provide a consistent brand elements in terms of the collaterals. We provide you prospectus designs and all outdoor and indoor branding supports. While I talk about the content and academic support, we do have a knowledge management portal, which almost like having a 25,000 plus contents comprised of e-lesson plans, worksheets, video lessons. That becomes instrumental for providing the right content for our teachers, other than the teaching learning materials, practice workbooks for students, designing, helping them with their academic calendars and providing manuals and planners, etc. This is what we call it as STAR, Summer Teachers Training Academy of Research. We do a lot of teachers training program wherein we not only provide the orientation and induction in terms of the kind of legacy and the kind of pedagogy that we follow in terms of academics, but we do subject-specific trainings and need-based trainings as well. So we prepare a calendar, annual calendar, training calendar for all of the schools, and then the schools takes part. So these are some of the need-based training programs which we focus on design thinking, leadership, ICT in classroom, assessments, etc., for all of our teachers. We connect with Jaipuria ERP, which focuses and integrates the entire school and helps the stakeholders to stay in touch with a lot of facilities. So even a investor having this facility on the tip of his thumb, he can get all the information of the school and connect with other stakeholders, with parents, children, as well as with teachers. Looking at the current situation that we all are facing through, in quick span of time, we developed the hybrid learning models, and we've started focusing and providing that kind of assistance to all our partner schools as well, wherein there are two type of learners. One is synchronous learners, wherein we do a lot of real-time interactions in batch, and focusing on the chapters and lessons and etc., and even the assessments of the students. And there are some areas where we find asynchronous learners we could not able to get because of the internet disconnectivity and all. And we provide a lot of stuffs for self-learning test. We have some partners associated with us, Round Square, Macmillan, SOF. Then we also tied up with some of the NGOs, Hand in Hand and Goonj, on a regular basis, and our children are very actively take part in such initiatives. We keep coming into a lot of newses on a regular basis. Recently we launched our Star Academy on 15th of this month, wherein we got our dignitaries like Dinesh Sharma ji, who is the Deputy Chief Minister of UP, and then the Secretary of CBSC, all were present and gracing this occasion. Coming to the requirement, yes, you need to have a minimum requirement of 2.5 to 3 acres of land, depending upon the location. It's an initial investment that of 8 to 10 CR, and the complete project cost you around 15 CR. If I talk about the payback, operational expense will come somewhere around 3 years, and capex will start from 8 year onwards. As we are also into preschool, we definitely look at a minimum area of 3,000 square feet of built-up area, and initial investment of 25 lakhs. And this payback starts from 6 months for the operational OPEX, and capex start from the second year onwards. Coming to the kind of fees that we charge, technical know-how fees and service fee. The sign-up fees, basically we divided into 3 segments. One is Metro City, which is 40 lakhs plus GST. State capitals and Tier 1 cities, it is 35 lakhs plus GST, and Tier 2 and below, we charge 30 lakhs plus GST. The agreement tenure is of 30 years, and service fee, as we sign agreement for 30 years, the first initial 10 years is for 8% plus GST. The next consecutive 10 years is for 7% plus GST, and the remaining 10 years is 6% plus GST. That's the end of my slide, and thank you so much. And I hand over to Gaurav.
Thank you, Anirban. Thank you. Shishirji, we would like to have your views on the larger vision of the group and what you see and your experience, and because for a very long period you were only running your own institutions, and very lately you've started opening up and sharing your business partnership, and which is very valuable, because when you have a heritage of that, it's very difficult for you to share with any other partner, because the quality, the reassurance you've done in your own schools and your institutions have to be same. So your vision and what you would like to share with our audience, sir.
Well, thank you, Gaurav. And to begin with, I'd like to mention about the family background. Our family had lived in Calcutta before coming to Kanpur, and my grandfather Padma Bhushan Mangturam Jaipuria started an undergraduate college in Calcutta in 1945, which is pre-independence. Subsequently, when we came to Kanpur, he always felt that the best way to empower the students is through education, and he started a K-12 school. The vision and purpose of starting the school was that he felt that most of the major cities across the country had missionary schools, wherein what was lacking was that lot of Indian values, cultures, ethos was not being taught in the manner they should have been done. So emphasized lot on Indian art, Indian music, Indian culture, family values, and he wanted that students should be able to get the same type of education which is prevalent in boarding schools. What he noticed was that students from better families or who were doing well used to send their children to schools which were boarding schools, wherein a lot of effort was on personality development and life skills. And he wanted that all the schools that we start with should encourage having life skills and personality development similar to boarding schools. So that was the vision of starting these schools to begin with. The tagline that we have for our schools is empower, enthuse, and excel. And as I said, that he wanted to empower the students, he wanted to ensure that they are enthused, they are happy, and they excel not only in academics, but in whatever field they are going to. As far as our vision for expansion is concerned, we wanted to have the partners with the same mindset. So it was important for us to understand that they have a similar vision. Because if they are coming to education just because they want to get into something to make money, then we thought that they are not the right. Come with a brand equity, with a legacy, which is very important for us. We wanted a firm commitment and a passion from our partners and a sense of service, which we thought is very important. So our belief is that the mindset that they have should be something that will be matching to our expectations. And then the other important thing is there has to be some financial support, as rightly being said, that it's a long-term vision, because once you open a school, it is something, it has a gestation period, but once you're able to do a good quality school, then you can serve the people for generations, and automatically the payback or the return that you are making from the investment comes through. The second point is that it creates lot of respect for those groups who have gone into the school business. So if they are running the school well, if they have a legacy where their alumni are doing well and they come back to you, it gives a lot of satisfaction to the family and to the people whom you are serving. So I think it is a very rewarding area to get into.
Absolutely, sir. Rightly said. And this is a responsible business. This brings a huge amount of pride, and that comes to hand in hand. The responsibility is equally big, because what you want to really do to the society. And almost all leading groups in their own cities have a vision ultimately to contribute, and the best you can contribute in a country like India is through education. I always feel that the best contribution is to education, and running a school is a very, very long-term commitment. We always say at Franchise India, when you think about school, you're looking for a business which would last you 50 years or more, and so forth. Even the school which your father would go to is still running successfully, or so it is a very long-term business. Only on 7th or 8th year, the business starts giving you an optimum performance when you are running that. So unless and until you come with a very long-term commitment, and good part is that now, and especially in the last 10 years, a lot of family offices, family businesses have realized that this is a good and very stable business, and they also have sometimes very strategically their own land holdings which they want to use it for schools, and they have some family members who can also participate and run and operate schools. Another question I have, Sushiji, in these modern times and with what is changing around, how is this legacy is very important for us, our belief as Indians and our culture and so on and so forth. That I think is very well taken care by your schools. But also, I think there is a lot of modernization, a lot of new technology, a lot of new empowerment is happening on child development and learning. So, how do you are bridging both the culture and also the new emphasis of technology?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, apart from legacy, our schools have been performing academically very well. And that was shown in the presentation that we try to ensure that this is done on a continuous basis and the rigor continues to be there. For that, as we all know, that the teachers and the leadership team is something, the school is as good as that team is. So we want to have lot of thrust and emphasis on teachers training and leadership programs that we have for our senior leadership team. So we want, and today we are living in a world where we have to collaborate with people. We have to have the right people to be able to develop the skills and the talents in different activities that we do. So whether it pertains to sports or to arts or to music or to robotics, for each of these programs, we try to have the best people and source the best programs for our students. Because for us, it is the most important that we are student-centered, and centricity of the student is foremost in all our systems and processes. So just to give you a couple of examples, like we started a program which is Sangeet for All. We feel that there's a lot of stress all over, and we start or nurture this right from KG classes. This helps the students or the small child to have rhythm, mathematical skills, and develop the child in the proper manner. Similarly, lot of focus is on sports, and we have tie up with Edu Sports. Then as far as teaching and learning is concerned, we have a whole gamut of partners that we work with, whether it is Microsoft or Google. We have plenty of people which go into different aspects of education, for lesson planning, for assessment tools, for the pedagogical interventions that we have, and the actual learning that happens within the school is something we monitor very regularly, because we feel that classroom observations, to be able to understand what the teacher is teaching and how the best the student is learning, and then to guide them in the proper manner. And that is a great learning for all of us as well.
Absolutely, sir. I think this is a good combination of holistic learning and capability development of child, and your results are actually speaking for that. And that's something which is very, very important, because in education, particularly, if you have great results, it actually helps you to even attract better students and so on and so forth. And that belief system continues. Now I'll go to Anirban. If I have a question for you on the business model viewpoint, what is the capex? You said initial 8 crores. So you always do a phase capex, because I understand you start with a certain size of campus, and as the capacity increase, you keep adding the campus. A little bit on the capex deployment viewpoint, from starting with 8 to 15, how this phased are done, and what phases the investment has to be done. You are on mute.
Well, it's a very valid question. Every investor would like to have this answer. What is generally that we get advice to investors, that the kind of see, any which way in the initial phase, the construction holds a very important parameter in terms of getting admissions and building up the strength in that particular city. So we definitely like to have the initial investment in terms of creating the infrastructure, which is planned on a phase-wise manner. We usually recommend to go for say around 40-45,000 of square feet which easily can accommodate say around 1,000 students, which can be taken in a span of 4 to 5 years. And then when you actually upgrade to the next level, and when you get a lot of admissions, then you need to have more number of sections and classes. So that second phase that comes in almost like right 4 5 years later, wherein you need to have another set of 35 to 40,000 of build up. But gradually what happens that say by second year or third year, you're probably not able to provide all kind of co-curricular facilities at one go, as an investment is quite huge in the initial first year with respect to marketing, the kind of the bearing of the salaries and maintenance expenditure and all. So we recommend to go for co-curricular infrastructure build up in terms of amphitheater, swimming pool, or any kind of sports infrastructure facilities that maybe can take place in 2 to 3 years of time right after the operation of the school. So that's a gradual process and gives a easy and confidence even for an investor to move step by step, rather than investing a huge lot of money and getting not results on a appropriate time. It becomes a very difficult situation for any investor.
Sure, very helpful. And I have three questions, and then I'll invite Sonia on that. One is that are you also looking for a conversion franchise, which means that some existing schools are there? Because I know a lot of educational infrastructure is there, especially not necessarily by school, but people build infrastructure in engineering, and they are not able to run that businesses. And the last few years, some infrastructure is not so deployed. And are you also looking to convert if it fits your parameter, or existing schools to get convert on your? That's one question. The second question is, which are the key markets which you would like to focus on, which needs to be done? And third, if you, because schools are run on a not to profit structure, and is it a trust advice or a special section company, which you can talk about when you take a licenses under that? So over to you, please.
Yeah, so very well, Gaurav. These are very important questions, and it is going to be very important change maker in terms of the kind of people that we have. Yes, we are looking for a conversion franchise model. So in case of any of potential investors who already have an infrastructure in place and not able to continue with their higher education vertical or even a K-12 school, we are happy to explore and would like to go through a complete process of understanding the location, because it is going to be important for us to understand the viability of that location and the school. If, for example, you have a infrastructure almost like 20 kilometers far away from the city, then it becomes very difficult, because the smaller children would not able to be preferred to go and distance of 20 kilometers in tier 2 tier 3 cities. When it comes to a metro city, yes, 20 kilometers is not a far distance with a reach of 45 minutes of running time. So all those elements are come in place while we do the site recce and the surveys, and based on that we give a complete report and share a feasibility report of whether the site is appropriate for running a school or not. Secondly, as you said, yes, we are open for pan India, but we are predominantly present in the Hindi belt, and we are already having our presence in UP, Madhya Pradesh, as well as in Uttarakhand. But as the vision of Shishir sir, and we really wanted to go and foray into 50 schools by 2025, and that can only possible when we get potential investors all across pan India and join hands, and so that we can take this legacy forward. Yes, the third question you asked about whether a trust or a society or a company. I would recommend, basically as per the CBSE guidelines, they recommend to go for any kind of non-profit organization. It could be trust, it could be society, or it could be a private limited company under Section 8, depending upon the convenience of the proprietor or investor, or even if it is a partnership between two partners or three partners or brothers or family friends. So any of the model is workable, but yes, there are certain obligations that come in place because as per as the guidelines of CBSE as well as MHRD, the commercial proposition which comes into the society formation and trust, there are certain limitations to that. So we are happy to guide such innovative entrepreneurs, edupreneurs who really wanted to go ahead with that. And we will be guiding at every step how to, whether to form a society would be very important or going with a company with Section 8.
Thank you. Over to you, Sonia, for your remarks and questions which you want to take.
So I was just trying and answering a lot of questions which are pouring in. So I'd like to thank you, Shri Shishirji, for coming today, and I would like to congratulate you for the achievement the entire, I would say, group has done over these years, and your contribution in person in the education landscape of India has been extremely immense, I would say, and which is embedded with very strong values and traditions, and these have remained very intact throughout the years. So. And a little bit which I'd like to also add, and I'm taking up some questions, Anirban, which you can perhaps answer. I've tried to answer a lot of these questions, but I feel the audience would want to listen from you. And a lot of these questions are coming on the tech side of the business. And we all understand, the Indian society puts a very, very big premium on knowledge and the acquisition of knowledge. And the biggest spend today, the Indian household, especially the Indian middle class household, has after food and grocery is the education spend that they do. And this year specifically, there are a lot of challenges which student, teachers, and schools are facing. And the biggest, of course, comes because of the pandemic, which everybody is seeing. I wanted to take up, one question which somebody has asked, how, because you did mention about the integration of AI and technology in the business, and they wanted to understand how this has been integrated, from traditional knowledge and shifting that to the new. So how it is being interpreted in the building, and also integrating AI, generative designs, AR and VR, which is the immersive technology they're talking about, the artificial intelligence. So if you want to talk a little bit or elaborate on that, please, Anirban.
Yeah, so it's a very well asked question, in fact. So it is not only about how a traditional to convert to a modern, but we also need to think about preparing and developing our children's for the 21st century skill sets, and also make them industry ready, which is going to be very important proposition for any a school. So what we basically look at, looking at the kind of pandemic situation that we have going through right now, we have developed this hybrid learning models, wherein we are trying to engage our learning with our facilitators, connecting in asynchronous and synchronous models. That is number one. Second, that we are also providing a lot of technical know-how support, not only to the children's, but also empowering their parents. Because if I talk about a small tier 3 city wherein we do not have that level of equipment of the parents, or maybe the parent is coming from a farming background, but he wants to put his child into Anandram Jaipuria, and progressively he wants to become a global citizen. It is going to be very important for us to engage their parents as well, and to sensitize and to train them, because a lot of things that are happening parallelly, and with the kind of help of online versions of PBL, ACL, subject enrichment learning activities, we are trying to engage a lot of things with the students. And we are also trying to do a lot of assessments, because it is not only you improve upon your quality of teaching, but also it is going to be very important to assess and evaluate students, right? And that's how you're going to monitor. So that's how we actually proceed, and it's a very step-by-step format that we follow at corporate office.
Just to add on to that, Anirban, I feel the approach today is changing, where I would say learning is also becoming very, very fluid, holistic, we talked about, and it is becoming more life ready and future fit for students. Personalization is one thing which is becoming extremely important in these times. And I'm what we've been reading, and I'm sure you all have been, and this is one characteristic which has become a very important part of any business. And it is also coming in education now. And education is one industry which has actually stayed away from personalization. One size fits all was the model since the industrial revolution. But I feel ed tech, which is the new norm, the innovation which has come in, will help us in building these personalization, because every student level is different, their abilities are different, and and they struggle in different subjects and different areas in each subject. So we all feel that edtech would bring that change. Another question which I want to add and take up from the audience, which I was taking a note of, we did talk about the overall investment. If there is some breakup that you could give, the 8% is on what kind of revenue streams, because school would also have many other activities which could be maybe on a revenue share, which maybe any kind of sports activities which they would perhaps have held in the school. So what kind of revenue streams would that 8% be levied on? One. And second, which I like to take together, is also who would help in the staff selection of the teachers?
Right.
And their
So
training.
I would prefer to answer the first one, and I'll request Shishir sir to answer the second question to it, because with his vision and expertise, I'll be more comfort. So the first question, the service fee. Yes, we do go for an agreement tenure of 30 years. That's number one. And every 10 years, the percentage starts from 8%, goes to 7% and 6% every 10 years of time. This service fee is basically the kind of services that we will be providing consistently to the school over a period of 30 years, right? Because any school, not only right at the start of the pre-launch phase, but also right after launching of the school and when the academic session starts, there are a lot of hand-holding that keeps going on with respect to providing content, induction, trainings, audits, compliances, training helpful in terms of marketing, and etc. So the service fee is basically charged on per child fee per annum. So for example, if a child fee structure that we scheduled at 40,000 per annum, then the 8% will be charged on the fees of per child per annum basis, and it is asked or probably charged on a quarterly basis. So as the children pays their fees on a quarterly basis, we also charge the school on a quarterly basis. Then it becomes easy for a promoter to pay on a periodical basis rather than paying at a lump sum by end of the year or initial years. So that's the number two. Number three, in service fee, as per as the conditions are concerned, there are certain fee components wherein we do not charge. So, for example, if I talk about security fees, ultimately this is a caution money which gets refunded at some point of time to the children. So we do not charge, service fee on the security deposit or the caution money. Anything related to transport fee, we do not charge, because ultimately that is going to be a cost for the school. And third, any kind of expenses or any kind of revenue that comes from running a canteen, doing after school academy, so we do not involve ourselves. We are only restricted to the fees that comes from students, except your security fees and the transport fees.
Great, helpful, Anirban.
Yeah.
Well, Sonia, just to answer your second point, we
Yes,
give
sir.
a lot of importance with regard to selection of the right people, because people are everything in education. And for that, the first point is that we select the right people, and we have a data bank of teachers and principals where we dive into at the corporate level to get the right person with the right attitude. Because you can get the people with the skills, or you can develop the skills in due course of time. but the attitude and approach is very important for us in the leadership team. And we have a scheduled calendar of teachers training that we impart to the people that are being appointed by us. And it is a minimum of 50 hours of teachers training that we go, because teachers come from different schools, different backgrounds, and they have to be embedded into our culture as far as teaching training, teachers training is concerned, the pedagogy is concerned, the classroom lessons are concerned, etc. And we also ensure that in case there are any gaps in terms of their skills, we are doing specific trainings on the request of their partner schools. So in case they want some specific programs to be held for their teachers, that also we conduct. And we also are focusing much on research. I'll give you a small example that we do understand, and there are a lot of studies according to which the reading speed and understanding speed of the children is very important. Whether it is a class 1 student, it should be between 35 to 50 words he should be able to read per minute, while for class 2 it could be between 65 to 75, and for class 3 it should be 110 to 120 words per minute. Now these things are very important for our teachers to understand, and we also try to ensure that we talk about all these things with our parents, because very important as stakeholders that the parents should be involved in the process of learning. And whenever they are teaching or guiding the students at home, they will be able to be in sync with what we are teaching in the classrooms. And with the pandemic that has been happened, now parents have become partners in the school education, because they are overseeing the activities that are happening and the transaction of teaching and learning that is taking place. And the teachers have to also be under a little bit of stress, because they are being observed by the parents as such. So I thought that to have them as a stakeholder, so proper communication has to go from the school to the parents, to the government agencies, to the media, to the teachers. And it has to be a collaborative arrangement that in times of these difficult situations, we are working in a collaborative manner. I also take this opportunity to congratulate the whole fraternity of teachers who are able to get onto the online system. A lot of schools, including us, were trying that they should be digitally savvy. But overnight, things changed. The amount of passion and the amount of effort they put in to bring on this online system on board was really remarkable. And it has been a smoothless transition. But definitely the skill sets have to be improved. There are a lot of new tools, techniques globally which are there, which they are being gradually learning. And I think we are into an era where education will change, and will change for the good, because the world will not continue to be the same as it was before. So that we have to accept, whether it is reopening of schools tomorrow, whether it is the hybrid learning, practice of learning that will be evolved in due course of time, which is now happening, and the new systems and pedagogical interventions that will happen, everything will play its part. But I see very exciting times, and the reach out to the students who are till now not able to get the type of education that was required will be much more easier. The government of India, including private schools and public schools, have put so much of content that even the last child can get the best quality teachers. And I personally feel, well, technology will only be an enabler. It is only for the teachers if they are good in their work. And if they have the right technology, they can absolutely become great. And they can not only teach a class of 40 or 50, but the whole world is open to them. Technology has become a great enabler in that matter.
Right. So I think you've rightly put that in a very strong message for everybody in this fraternity. And I agree to it, as a parent, it was as challenging for teachers as it currently is for the students. And I feel teachers also have worked very hard, handling their homes and doing these classes. And not everybody is tech savvy at this point in time. And this was a very critical time for everybody, and how schools have actually shaped up in these times is in fact very, very remarkable. So, while we are kind of coming very close to our closing, and I'll not be able to take many questions, anything, Anirban, that you want to pick up from the audience? And I'll quickly talk about maybe one or two. So I have somebody from Patna, and he wants to understand, because we already have one school running there. So if second is a possibility, I have another one from Mohali, and one of his friends is already running a school in one of the locations up north, and looking at the performance and the progress, I would say he says he's also keen to take it up. So any radius or limitation or restriction that you feel needs to be given when a school comes up, if there's already one which is running in that particular region or city?
So, as far as wherever we are already present, any particular state or city, we were happy to explore, because we usually give rides of 12 to 15 kilometers, exactly because that's where the catchment of any particular school. And even if it is a preschool, then we do not look forward for anything which is close to 1 or 2 kilometers, but beyond 4 to 5 kilometers of radius from that particular location for particularly preschool, we are quite open. Yes, as I said that somebody asked that he is quite keen for Patna. Yes, we are open for discussion, and you can get in touch with our corporate business team. We will happy to try to see the location first, and basis of the same, we'll try to figure out the kind of catchment and do the rest of the analysis. Yes, another I think somebody, a relative of the owners of Sitarganj in Uttarakhand, who shared some interest to open up a school in Mohali. We are happy if you can collaborate, and the basic requirements should be fulfilled, because even if you are opening up the CBSE or ICSE school, the basic requirements in terms of the land bank, in terms of the capacity, in terms of the having a passion for doing something for the society, and you need to have the right blend of mindset to open up and run a school, because this is going to be a long term. It's not going to be a short term return kind of thing. It's going to be a long term. So you need to have that predecessor mind. And yes, of course, we can explore further associations.
Sure. Great. I'll now give it back to Gaurav. Gaurav, if you want to pick up any questions
I think we've answered a lot of questions. I've run over 15 minutes.
Yes.
So I think we should take up these questions 101 now. With we will need your time, Anirban, for a couple of hours in this week, and where we can bring in some discussions and people can go into detail, because this is not a short-term investment mindset. It needs a very detailed and a very elaborate understanding at both ends, at the investor family which wants to invest into this, and also for you. I know how important it is, the selection is, unlike other schools, and this is from Franchise India. I can strongly endorse that. We worked with many companies in past which are doing franchising. Their group is very, very conscious in terms of who they select. They are not in rush. This is an established relationship for many years, so they are not running just for happening schools. It is their love for education which they want to spread, and bring in quality partners who would then also share the same kind of vision doing that. And we are very proud at Franchise India to have a very strong relationship with you. So before we end this session, I would like to have final word from you, Shishir sir. If you can give our audience a small message, and then to Anirban, you and Sonia, and then we close the session.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think it was a great session. A lot of investors and people who are there on the webinar would have understood the importance of education, and this will continue to grow. And I think quality education is something which everybody is aspiring. Today, we are living in a society which is very aspirational, and we should try to provide the best quality education for our children. And I think we look for you as partners who can help us in ensuring that the quality of education can reach out to all the cities within our country, whether it is a tier 1 city, tier 2 city, or tier 3 city. But we want that child should get the best, and that is what we stand for. So I hope you all the best and hope that you are safe in these difficult times and look forward to further interactions in future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you with us. Anirban.
I just like to thank Gaurav and Sonia, both of you, for inviting us in this forum. And it's been a privilege for us to, interact with so many investors. I can see a lot of questions, a lot of participants and have joined. And people with the help of Facebook live feeds, they are also watching. So one important thing that I would like to share to my investors, potential investors, that it is this school is not, please do not treat this school as a business entity. You need to have a passion. You should have a clear thought and objective and the purpose in mind, that for what reason you are opening up that school in the respective city. And obviously you should have a passion and love for the children, that if you do not love children, if you do not have passion to give back to the society, then this business model, whatever you call it, as a opening up schools or even a play school, that will not fetch you a long-term results. And yes, should have adequate resource to manage the initial years of investment, and you should have a willingness to spend. You should not bother to look into less cost manpower, because education, or even K-12 or any educational institute, it's a human driven organization. So let's respect and value manpower and give them the right credit at right time. And I think that's going to be the most important part. And I look forward with the help of Franchise India to connect with us on one-to-one basis anytime at our office or over virtual connect. We can discuss further in details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shishir sir and Anirban. I feel this webinar was very informative and very insightful, and we all have to learn so much from you. And this is one sector which is extremely revered, and a lot of people come in education only for one thing, which is respect. And this is a long haul business where returns would take their time. And this is a business which can be run across generations and passed from one generation to the other. I feel quality and blended learning are the future, and we are happy to see that initiative come from you. And we are seeing how the entire landscape of education is changing, not just inside the classrooms, but outside also. So wishing you all the very best, and we are hopeful to see a lot of people writing in to get in touch with you between today and tomorrow. I also see a lot of conversion. A lot of people are running schools, and I see one lead which has come in from south of India. I think that is something we'll take up immediately. I'll try to do that today. Running this school for the last 10 odd years. So we'll take it up with them today and try and screen all the profiles that come to us.
Good. Look forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Archana, over to you for a thank you note.
Sure. So thank you so much, all the participants who have joined us today. Thank you so much, Shishir sir. And I second Sonia ma'am. Yes, the kind of the work you are doing in this particular field is immense, and we truly respect you for that. Thank you so much for sparing out time today and talking digitally with all our investors. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharya. It was a lovely presentation given by you. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, for your insights and suggestion. We'll definitely come back to all the participants for one-to-one meeting with team of Jaipuria. The recorded version of this particular webinar and rest of the webinar is available at the Facebook page of Franchise India Brands Limited. You can go and check all the webinar which we previously conducted. You can join us and you can share your feedback, suggestion, any point of any other suggestion at 97176-83838. That's the new business hotline number we have launched. We will try to give you resolution within 2 to 4 hours. And you can also connect with Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their respective LinkedIn ID. That's the IDs we have given on your screen. But before you go and we say final goodbye for today, we have another great brand coming tomorrow because we are celebrating 70th edition of Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series. And tomorrow we are presenting you brand Seva Facility. Yes, the brand which enjoys 25 years of experience in pest control, certified by state government and central government. They already having presence in 8 cities and 5 states. So do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow for Seva Facility, where Mr. Rathod, who is a founder at Seva Facility Services, digitally talking to you and offering you the business proposition and business model for you. Do not miss this chance. Join us tomorrow sharp at 12 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.